In this video tutorial, we're going to look at the hiragana ta, chi, tsu, te, to. And just like sashi, su, se, so, you might think that doesn't look very much like a grouping. Ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Again, when you write these letters in romaji, they don't quite work as a group because we're approximating Japanese sounds. But when you look at it in Japanese, here we have the Japanese hiragana ta, chi, tsu, te, to. That is a perfect sound match to the Japanese. Let's have a look at the hiragana ta, because it's very, very easy. We'll do the mnemonic at the same time as doing the stroke order, because the first part of our letter ta is simply almost a English letter T. And just like a T, we draw a cross and then down. We're going to do the same thing with ta. Only instead of going straight down, we're going to angle it slightly to the left there. So there we have TA, and then we've got the top bit of a, as in the English letter A, and the bottom bit of an English A. Let's make that clearer by putting the left-hand part of the A in and the right-hand part of the A. And there we've got T, A spells ta. And there's our mnemonic. T, A spells ta. And your stroke order, in case you've forgotten, across and down, the top of the A and the bottom of the A. Ta spells ta. Next we have hiragana chi, and we spell that in romaji chi. Here it is in printed form, and the handwritten form is just the same. There's no gap in the hiragana chi. Here's our stroke order, of course, top to bottom. This is the top stroke, so we go across there, top, and then all the way down, and we do not take our pen off the paper. We go all the way around like that, and that is very nearly the same as the English number 5. All we have to do is remove that top bit there, remove that left bit there, and there I'm going to add a P. There it is, and I've got 5P, and that's pretty cheap. Chi for cheap. There's your mnemonic, 5P. That's cheap. Chi, cheap. Next we're going to look at hiragana tsu, spelt TSU in romaji and written like that both in printed form and also in handwritten form. Tsu. Now I'm sure you've all heard the Japanese word tsunami. They often have tsunami in Japan. Over the years of their history they've had many, and of course quite recently in the north of Japan they had a very tragic and serious tsunami. A tsunami is a great big wave. So here we have tsu, looks like a great big wave. There it is, tsu for tsunami. Here's our mnemonic. It is a tsunami. And of course that word, you might think it's an English word, but it's taken directly from Japanese. Tsunami, it's the same word in English and in Japanese. Just one stroke, so easy to remember. Next we have te. That's T-E in romaji. There it is, te in printed form. Te in written form looks just the same. Now te has just one stroke, across, and then what looks like a C here. And we're going to remember te by thinking of it as a tennis racket. Not any old tennis racket, but a broken tennis racket. This is a tennis racket that's been used in a match with a professional tennis player. The person who used it, unfortunately, was not a professional tennis player and came off very much worse for wear. Now, a tennis racket normally has a handle like that, and then at the bottom it's got that round part, and then it's got its strings there across. Are they called strings? Anyway, those bouncy bits in there. Okay, so that's your tennis racket, and this is what it's looked like after playing tennis with that professional. So the top racket portion has been bent completely over, so that becomes that. All the strings here have been blasted away by the speed of the ball, and half of the racket has completely been destroyed. So we're left with only this left-hand portion of the racket right there. So quite an annihilation, both of the player as well as the tennis racket. So te is for a broken tennis racket. There's your mnemonic, a broken tennis racket. Te. Finally, we have to. And that's written T-O in romaji. There it is, to in printed form, and the written form looks just the same, hiragana to. And the stroke order of to is this left-hand line coming down here, because it's top to bottom, left to right, and then the second stroke, which looks a bit like a C there, and that's your hiragana to. Now the story that we're going to use is slightly different and a little bit painful. To remember this hiragana, we're going to think of this as a nasty big thorn with a very pointy end. And this here is actually someone's toe. So I'm going to draw in the toenail there. Does that look like a toe there? So if I were to draw the other toes, they'd be like here. So that's 1, 2, and there's your big toe, and that's a great big thorn that's in the end of your toe. So that's to for toe. There's the mnemonic, a thorn in my toe. Toe. There's your stroke order, ich, ni. And that's the T's done.